I'm super emotional right now. I have to out myself as a St. Peter's newbie. I've only been less than 6 months, and if someone would have told me a year ago that I would be giving testimony, I would have rolled my eyes at myself. I'm a lapsed RC. I've dabbled in many different spiritual spaces, but I have found my true home at St. Peter's. As Reverend Christine just said, I am an administrative judge with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. We are an agency that enforces employment discrimination laws. And shortly after this new president came into office, he issued an executive order attacking trans people. I was horrified, not surprised, and I waited to see what my supervisors and the higher-ups in the agency would do about it. These were clearly unethical, illegal, and unchristian mandates from someone who claims to be a Christian. I sat with it, and no one else spoke up. I went to see my parents, flew out of town for a couple of days, and got real quiet. And on the plane ride back, I felt like a spiritual tap on my shoulder, and it was God, and he said, "Girl, tap in." So, as one who's not used to giving testimony, I'm used to hearing testimony. Here's mine. It might not be eloquent, but I'll speak in plain language like I always do. Do not be afraid to use your voice. Jesus did not have a filter. I no longer have a filter. I called out the leadership in my agency, and I thought maybe I'd get fired. Maybe one person, a colleague, would hear me and feel seen and know that what is being done is wrong. And that was good enough for me. I accepted that whatever the result would be, would be. Never in a million years did I think, an hour after I sent my email, that it would go viral on Reddit. And I started getting calls from the press at my work phone line. I was absolutely stunned. Something that I have called a love letter to my colleagues had become national news. I then decided, with God's messaging and, my own personal relationship with God, that I would use this platform to speak on behalf of trans people and in support of trans people. And every chance I've gotten, I've used my voice. I think that this is my Christian imperative. So I didn't think that, I've done a few interviews. If you search for me, you'll see like the Times, New York Times did a couple of pieces, which was great. The Associated Press did a really, really great piece that I thought did justice to the cause. And there were some other press outlets that reached out, and I was really excited about it. And I think my ego got a little bit too activated. So one of them was This American Life, and I was so amped that I had been interviewed for This American Life, and I was telling the story about speaking up for people, for trans people, etc. Well, 2 weeks ago, the journalist that interviewed me said, "I'm so sorry, but we didn't have room for your piece. It was supposed to be in this last episode, but we really thank you. It helped guide our final piece." And when I listened to that podcast, they spoke to one of the students who had been deported and at Columbia University. I'm a Columbia alum too, so that's very dear to my heart. And I listened to the episode and I said, that's the story that needed to be told. My story, I'm tired of my story, right? And then I had also done an interview with NPR, and that never aired as far as I know. On my way over here, my neighbor texted me and said, "I'm listening to you on NPR right now. Talk about freedom of speech in relation to standing up for trans rights." And I thought, wow, you just never know when you speak, who it's going to land on and how they're going to take it. You might intend for you to just be speaking to one person. You might be just speaking for yourself. I met with Reverend Christine earlier this week to kind of calm my nerves about speaking publicly. And, we joked about, maybe it'll only be Reverend Leisha, Reverend Christine, and me on Sunday. Maybe there'll be nobody else here. But what I have to say, I might need to say for myself. So you just never know where it's going to land. I speak again, I don't have a filter anymore. It seems to be landing, my message, with people who need to hear it. I've heard from colleagues across the country who are trans, and I never knew they were trans, and said, thank you, I feel seen, it got me through the week. And I continue to get messages like that. So with that platform and this platform, I just want to encourage you to speak up for those who are marginalized, even if it's just for yourself, to reinforce that you're a Christian, that Jesus is good. We should follow him. We don't need a filter. We don't even need a donkey to ride in on. We could just stroll in sneakers. So with that, I hope my words have landed well on you all gathered here, and bless you all.